Hello to our live webcast, Get More with System Center and Automator. My name is Michael Seidel. I am a Microsoft MVP and CEO at Automator. We directly start with the agenda. So we will start with a small Automator introduction, just a few slides, and then a demo how Automator works and how it's connected to SEO, to Orchestrator and System Center. And then we have some demo services, self-service password reset, a user onboarding request software in combination with SCCM, the return of investment calculation for a live example for one of our customers, and at the end, a Q&A. So you will be able to write some questions in your chat window, in your Teams window, and we will collect them and all the questions will be answered at the end. But please use the opportunity and enter your questions so we can answer them at the end. Automator is a self-service portal, front end for Microsoft automation. So we provide a portal where you can build some forms and request and present this to the end user, IT staff. And this will trigger Microsoft automation in System Center Orchestrator, System Center SMA, the cloud Azure Automation, or at the end of 2019, we planned to release our fourth automation engine, the PowerShell connector. So you will be able to directly connect our portal to a PowerShell script. So you don't need any license related to System Center Azure Automation. So you just need our portal and you can trigger a PowerShell script. Today we are focused on System Center, especially on Orchestrator. We are planning a webcast for Azure Automation. So this will be the next 1 or 2 months. And very important, all this automation engine can be used with only one license. So if you buy the license, you can decide what kind of automation you use. You can combine all these automation services, so not limited to one automation. And yeah, that's only with one license. The portal is fully customizable to fit your CI. So you can change the colors, you can change the logo, and so on. It's a responsive HTML5 portal, and of course, a modern design. The top 12 services from our customers. Of course, the most popular service is user management. So for example, user onboarding, user leaving, user changing, and so on. So that's a task each customer needs in the daily business and is a huge benefit if you automate this task. Other thing, reset user password. We will have a demo today. 2 different ways to solve this. Set out of office reply, install a software, request a software, request access to a folder, to a mailbox, set the maintenance mode in SCOM, just simply reboot the server, and so on and so on. So the ideas are endless, but these are just the top 12 services we get from our customers. So how this all works together. First of all, you have to build your automation, your tasks. This will be done in Orchestrator, SMA, Azure Automation, or PowerShell. Usually you have some kind of initialized data, some parameters you will be thrown in your automation. Then you do the stuff. So for example, create users, set out of office reply, and so on. And then you get some return data from the automation. So some kind of successful error messages. Or for example, if you create a new user, you get the same account name back, so your user can log in. So that's the first step. You have to build your automation. Then our portal comes in place. You connect our portal to the automation engine and create the service. You configure the questions. You can configure an approval workflow if you like, and you configure the service with role-based access. So you can decide which service can be used by which users. And then the user can use this service and start it as a request. He maybe has to wait for the approval. If this is successful, the automation will be triggered. And at the end, you get some return data from the runbook. So he's got a response. If everything was fine, the results, and so on. We have something more. We also have, you can provide some announcements. You can manage your team. You can manage your user details. You can see the details. And the portal is fully Active Directory integrated. So that means we directly get all the information from Active Directory, the user information, the manager information, the team information. There's no staging, no synchronization, no caching, anything like this. We directly get it from the Active Directory. And now we are at the demo steps. So I will switch over to my demo lab. We have a few different users. So I have 3 Internet Explorer sessions to show you the portal from an admin side, an end user side, and the team leader. First of all, it's the admin side. It's my user, and I will show you how to easily connect our portal to the orchestrator. So, and how to build a service. So we go to the services. We have a list here, and we create a new service that's called new user. So, because I'm lazy, I will copy the name and the description. We select the service group. In our case, it's a user management. You can select the language. So if you want to have a special language for this service, for example, this should be only an English service, then the service will only present it to English users. So I can change my language on the top right, German, French, and Russian. At the end of this year, we will add some more languages. And you can add an image, so a nice icon. If you like, we will provide you some, so you don't need to buy anything. You can add an approval workflow. So there are 2 possible ways. You can configure single approve or deny. So a single user can is configured, and he can say yes or no, and only if the approval is positive, then the automation will be triggered. Or you can configure some percentage. So you can configure multiple users or groups. And you also have the manager here. So depends on which user is starting the request. The manager related to the user will be the approver. So that's dynamic. And in this case, you have 3 approval configured. So you can configure the percentage. So in this case, at least 2 users needs to approve, then the automation will be triggered. And now the most important part, the runbook, the automation connection. So for example, we have here some runbooks. For example, the user onboarding. It's a simple PowerShell script, but we have some initialized data configured. For example, the given name, the last name, the location, and so on. So all these informations are configured in Orchestrator. Simple. And now we select the runbook here. Just to make sure, you can select which runbook you want to have, the Azure runbook, SMA runbook, or Orchestrator runbook. We click on the search button. Now we get the list from Orchestrator. It can take some seconds because Orchestrator service sometimes is a little bit lazy. So we get all the runbooks from the Orchestrator, and we select the the user onboarding, and that's the runbook I showed you a few seconds before. And we select this runbook, and that's it. We have now here all the questions automatically. So we get the runbook information, we get the initialized data, and we present you the initialized data as questions. The only thing you have to do is to configure a nice question name, because that's the variable name, C_given name. Of course, we want a nicer name, given name. We can select if this is required. Of course, a name is always required for a username, for a new user. We can order this, and we can select the type. We have a lot of types here available. We can select the text, a multi-line text, an optional separate is a drop-down list, just a yes or no, a date picker, password, an LDAP query, and a SQL query. And that's a huge benefit. So you can, for example, if you have a manager field, we see it in a few seconds, you can directly get all your users from Active Directory. So you don't have to make any second list, any double data or something like this. Just get the user information to select the manager live from the Active Directory. Also the same with SQL query. For example, you have all your locations in your ERP system, in a SQL database, just grab this information live from your SQL system. You don't have to synchronize it anywhere. You don't have to do any configuration items in any kind of way. Just query the SQL data where it is. Additionally, we have an integer and a file picker. So in our case, for the given name, the text is okay. We can do some regular expression and so on. So the next one is last name. It's also required. It's also text, and so on and so on. We scroll down a little bit to the manager field. So we give it a nice name. And yes, it is required. And here is the LDAP query. And we simply do an object class equals user. And we want to show the value name. And if you do a preview of the values, yes, we get our users live from the Active Directory. We can do additionally a SAM account name. So we have two values. So we make sure we select the right user. Of course, you can do some more advanced query. In this case, for example, all users from a special organization unit or from a specific group. But in our case, it's just for demo, and I think you understand what we are capable of. And what very interesting is you can do dynamic questions. So we can select that the manager field is only visible if the location contains, for example, New York. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but the idea is to make questions only visible if you need it. We have the second demo is a new user request. We will see how this works together. And so on, we can finish, and so on and so on. So we will stop here. The idea how to connect Orchestrator to our portal, I think is clear. What else can we do is we can manage our team. So if I click here, I can see my team here. If I click on the users, I can see also the information of my team members. Once again, now I have it. So this information is live from Active Directory. There is no sync, no cache, something like this. It's live from Active Directory. How your team is built. Your team can be built in a few different ways. For example, the manage by attribute. So I am the manager of these users in my Active Directory. So that's my team members. You can also do it by group memberships. So I can create a group where I am the manager of and put all my team members in. So I will see these team members here. And why is this so important? Because I can start a request for my team members, not only for myself. So for example, I can request a user, but I can reset the password for one of my team members. So that's the idea behind this. We will see this in a few seconds. I just want to show you the announcements. You can configure some simple announcements. When the user logs into the portal, he will see on the top. So for example, I did one of our webcast. If we scroll down a little bit and we will see our announcements, you can configure start and an end date. So in this time frame, the announcement will be visible, and you can select a language. So that's some kind of way to communicate with your end users, just to present them an announcement on the form. So now we are heading over to our demo services. And the first one will be a password reset. And I told you, you cannot only start a request for yourself, you can also start this for other users. So you can do some tasks for other users. In our case, one of my team members, Mike Jan, you can see it here, it had a red dot, so the user is deactivated. So he was on holiday, he came back from holiday, he forgot his password, and now the user is deactivated. Usually you go to you call your IT department, they go to Active Directory, they will reset your password, they will send you a password, or will tell you a standard password, and that's it. Our idea is self-service for the end user. So the user can go to his team lead and tell him, hey, my user is disabled, please re-enable and reset the password. An easy way can be this one. So I will just select Mike Jan. I can select, I have it under the manager service, and there's a simple reset password. And now I can reset his password. I can choose a different, a custom password, or Orchestrator will generate one. I will enter a custom password. The user tells me, I click finish, and that's it. So we have now two problems. First of all, I know the password. I, as a team leader, know the password of Mike Jan, and I can do this all the time. So there's nothing prevents me to additionally reset the password, and now I can log in with Mike Jan because I can screw I can hack his account. So that's not really a secure one. We have built a second one. For this, we will switch over to different portals. So for different users, we have this one, that's mine. We will bring that in the background. So we have here one user that is Marcus, that's an end user. So that only can start request for himself. And we have, let me see, this one. This is Marcel. Marcel is the team leader of Marcus, so he can start a request for Marcus. I will switch back to Marcus' side. So we created a password reset where the end user has to configure, has to answer some questions. So typically, you know it from internet sites or any places where you forget your password, you can answer some questions, for example. That's what we built here. So that's one way how to solve this. There are a few ways, but that's our example. So of course, Marcus has to answer the questions before he can use the password reset, the secure one. So he will request the service, he will start the service, he will select a question. For example, what's the name of your first pet? The name was Maxi, and that's it. So the end user started answered a question. So a few weeks later, Marcus is back from holiday, and we will disable his account. Now Marcus is going to Marcel and ask him to reset his password. Okay, so now Marcel sees, oh, Marcus, the user is disabled. That's right. And now Marcel can reset the password for Marcus. And we have now a secure reset the password service. And that looks a little bit different. So now he can select the answered question from Marcus. So we did already a few tests. So we have 3 questions to select. And we decide the first pet's name, the name of your first pet. And now Marcus needs to tell me the name. He tells me Maxi. We know it's right. And the second one is how the password. So the step will be we create a password and we have to send this to the users. We don't want to send this to the team leader. So we need to make sure only the end user will receive the password. So there's one option, we can send them by text message. We take a look at Marcus user. There is a phone number configured here, and we get the phone number and send them a text message. So we click finish. What's happening now in the background in Orchestrator? This runbook will be triggered. We check if the question was right. I will turn up my phone, so we'll see you should hear the ring in a few seconds because I get the short message. Yeah, the short message is here. So we'll generate some password. We will set the new password, enable the user. We will send an email and text, whatever you choose, and we will send a confirmation email to the one who has started the request. And we will disable this particular question for the user. So Marcel, as a team leader, is not anymore possible to reset the password with the same question and answer combination. And that's a security aspect. So that's if Marcus forgets his password once again, he needs to select a different question and a different answer, but the same question and answer combination cannot be used anymore. That's the point. Now, as Marcel, I received an email which tells me, because I started the request, hey Marcel, the secure reset password has been finished. It is completed, and password has been sent to the affected user. So the affected user has received a short message on his phone with the new password, can log in, and everything is good. So that's the idea behind this one. Now we switch back to my portal. Yes. The next demo is user onboarding. So also highly requested service, user onboarding. Each company has a lot of user onboarding, user offboarding, user changes. So we created maybe a simple one, but an effective one. And I want to create a new user. So I get a new colleague in a few weeks, and I can select a new user form. His name will be Mike Trump. No, Trump I did already today. It is Obama. The location will be in New York, of course. So one step back. Where do we get these locations? If you take a look in our Active Directory, that's exactly this information. So we used here our LDAP query to select our locations in Active Directory. Of course, not each customer, not each user, not each environment has its location stored in Active Directory. But in our case, we did. If you have it in the SQL database, just use the SQL question type and grab the information from there. So that's the idea behind. You're very flexible where you get your information from. So just to make sure, if you see here New York, it is Broadway 1 and postal code 1231. And that's exactly the same information here. So we get it directly from Active Directory. So now we selected New York. Now we select the manager. Yes, it will be me. So that's a user list from Active Directory. We then entry date. That's on the 1st of October. It's just at this point, the user will be activated and something like this. And does he need a hardware? Sure. Oh, more questions. I want a notebook graphic. Does he need a monitor? Oh, one more question. So that's the idea behind the dynamic questions we saw at the beginning. We created the test user onboarding. So just related to the answers we give to previous questions, the next question will pop up or disappear. I need a monitor. 2, no, I need more. Oh, now I need to tell them a reason. Because we need it. So that's the idea. So we can build dynamic forms related to the answers before. Okay. I will start the request. The user onboarding should start. Yeah, the runbook already triggered, is finished. And if we take a look in New York, there is the user Mike Obama. So that's an easy one. Also, if we take a look at my team, we see Mike Obama is already here. So you see, we go directly to Active Directory, no caching, nothing else, directly from Active Directory, we get all the information. So Mike Obama is here. I can see his Active Directory data live in my portal, and I already can start a request for him. So I can do whatever, password reset or whatever I like. So it's constantly, instantly here. If it's in Active Directory, we see it in our portal. And a few seconds later, I also get a summary of my request. It's an email I get. So the status is completed, a new user. That's the return from the runbook. So the user name was Obami. Sounds good. And that was the information I entered. And at the end, I get all the information I entered to the form. So that's some kind of nice form, and the return data, that's the truly entered data. So I can check once again if everything was correct. That's it. So that's so simple is a user entrance, including hardware provisioning or hardware requesting and so on. The next one will be, we will switch over to our end user. It should be that's Marcel. We need Marcus. Yeah, that's Marcus. He now wants to request a software. So our next demo is a request software, and that's connected to our SCCM environment. So if you take a look at our SCCM environment, we have 4 applications: Photoshop, Firefox, Screenshot, and Wunderlist. And we also have some comments on this applications. So you see Adobe Photoshop costs €600 per year, Firefox, Screenshot, and Wunderlist is for free. And if you take a look, Markus is also the primary user of the Demo 1 PC. So now sit back and relax. I can start the request the software. And now I can choose the software. And that's completely the same list we saw a few seconds before in SCCM. So we get directly with the SQL question type the information from the SCCM SQL database. So no staging, no need of additional hardware list or software list. You can do your own software catalog, that's for sure, but you don't need it. If you have it configured in the SCCM, if you have your structures configured like this, just grab it directly from SCCM. So I select I want Adobe Photoshop and I choose my computer. And of course, I just get a list of my computers, not of all the Active Directory computers, just the one who belongs to me. So that's the primary device which has been configured in SCCM. And now the Demo 1, and that's it. This service has an approval step, and luckily I am the approver. So I will go back to my portal, that's me. And you see I have a to-do on the top right. I also get an email, but we now saw a lot of emails. I think that's fine. I get an email, I can do it here, and I see here a request from Markus. He wants Photoshop 2018 to the computer demo. Sure, okay, and approve. And now the runbook will be triggered. If you see here, the runbook has been triggered already. Yeah, a few seconds before. And now we put the computer in the collection of Adobe Photoshop. So we get the application, we get the collection, and then put the computer in the collection. And who is familiar with SCCM, you know this can take some while. So we don't wait for this. But you can trust me, at the end, the Demo 1 PC will be in the collection of Adobe Photoshop. That's what the runbook is doing. So we have one more left. We need Marcel's portal. Marcel has 2 team members, and a lot of customers need the possibility to update Active Directory properties, but not in the Active Directory console. So not each team leads should have access to Active Directory console and update some kind of user details. So we just build a small form. Now we decide Clemens Meyer should switch the manager. So Clemens will move to a different department, and we select, oh, I want to change the manager, and I select me. I also can do some update the phone details, so I can put in some phone numbers. I can do the address details update or something like this. It's an easy form, just with a few dynamic questions, and that's it. If we finish this, the runbook will be triggered. It will take some seconds, and now I'm on my portal, and my team should now contain Clemens Meyer. Maybe we are a little bit too fast. Yes, we just do a refresh. Now he's here. Now it's Clemens Meyer in my team. So once again, approval to prove we get the information directly from Active Directory. One more time. Now I decide, no, Clemens is not in my team. He should go back to Marcel. So once again, user management. Once again, no, wrong one. Manager service, update user properties. Next, manager, and back to Marcel. What's happening? If you click finish, the runbook up the user details started, and we update the user, and that's it. It takes some seconds. Active Directory has been changed, and if you go back to Marcel's, no, that's Markus. That's Marcel. If you take a look at his team, Clemens is back. So you see, directly, if you change anything in Active Directory, we see it in the portal without any delay. Okay, that's it. That has been our 4 services. we go back to our presentation. Don't forget, if you have any questions, please write it down in the chat window, in the Q&A section. We will answer them at the end of the event. We will have around 5 minutes left. So if there are questions, please type it in. We will answer them at the end of the last 4 slides. So now the important thing, the licensing. We have 4 license types. Each license have the same features and acts the same way. So the only difference are the users you have in your Active Directory environment. So we count all your active Directory users. That's it. So the only way you have to count all your active Directory users, get your right license, and that's it. Ooh, 1 click. That's it. If you buy, we are based in Europe, so our prices are also in euro. On the right top, you see €1 at the moment is $1.11 US. So for example, the rookie license should be around $4,444 US at the moment. But we're always based on the euro currency. If you buy a license, the first year of support and maintenance is included. Support and maintenance mean you get support from our support staff. So you have a ticket system, you can request some help. And for the maintenance, you always get the latest release of our software. We are trying to bring out a new release each quarter, so 4 times a year. And with an active maintenance, you can install always the latest release. At the second year, you should continue your maintenance and your support. It's based on your license from 400 euros up to 2,000 euros. There is no need to pay the maintenance or to enhance it, to continue. You can use the latest release in your maintenance. You can use the portal also without any maintenance, but you don't get any support and you don't get any new releases. So that's it. So I will highly recommend you to continue the maintenance when you use our product. It's really affordable. It's a very good price, so I think that's worth it. So now we have our return of investment calculation. As I said on the beginning, that's a true story. So that's no fake numbers or something like this. It's a true story, and we can do this for all our customers. So it depends. It doesn't depend on the users, on the environment size or something like this. It's always the same. So our example is a customer up to 1,800 users. So he needs the rookie license, and we implemented 3 services: user onboarding, password reset, and out of office reply. Now we are at the cost. The license rookie costs 4,000 euros, and the 3 services we have built had user request. The user onboarding was around 24 hours. So each hour we calculated with 150 euros. The reset user password and the set out of office reply was each 4 hours with the same price. So at the sum, the complete cost at the first year was the license and 3 services of consulting hours have been 8,800 euros. Okay. Now the savings on the first year. The request onboarding, the customer had around 10 new users each month, and the manual steps to onboard a new user, which we automated with Orchestrator in the front end of Automator, took the customer 1 hour, 1.5 hour each user. So he saved 180 hours on the first year because we automated the steps. The same for the reset user password, around 10 users per week, each 5 minutes. And the out of office reply, 2 users per week, each 15 minutes. So we saved up to 250 hours on the first year by automation and self-service. That's a saved time in months, 1.5 months. And we calculated this by an IT employee, which will earn 6,000 euro per month, including the company taxes. So that's a cheap one. That will be a saved time in money, 9,000 euros. at the first year. And now you can see the arrow, the green one. It is pointing at the end of year 2, at the beginning of year, at the end of year 1, at the beginning of year 2, where the return of investment was reached. So the cost has been calculated by the initial cost, the maintenance cost for the next years, so each year. And of course, each year, a few new services has been built. So the costs will not be the same. They're also increasing, but the benefits and the saving are much more higher than the costs. So with each service you implement, the savings are much more. So the more request, the faster return of investment. Okay. What's next? Hopefully you have been convinced that this is a good solution in combination with System Center. And now maybe you have to convince your team leader, your supervisors, or your CEO, CTO, CIO, you see anything. Yeah. So we are recording this session, so you can show them the session. If you want to convince, we also send you some information in a few days. You can present to your team leader, to your supervisor, or of course, if you need any help, you can contact us and we can talk to your boss, to your team leader, to your supervisor, if you need any help in this. So now you're convinced. Now the license. We constantly increasing our partner network. So we have on our homepage, on our webpage, we have a partner list in each country. If you have a partner in your area, go to your partner and they will get your license. If you have no partner, you can buy the license directly in our shop. So it makes no difference for us if you buy it per partner or if our shop. Of course, if you have a partner on site, please use a partner because they are familiar with the product. They can help you with the build the requests and the automation. But of course, you can buy the license directly also in our shop. Now you have the license. Now you can start automation. So build your automations, build your workflow, consulting hours. Talk to your partner. They can help you build your runbooks, build your automation, define the process, define the workflows, and so on. You can do it by yourself. Of course, you can build your own runbooks. It's not very complicated. So you just put in some activities, connect them together, and that's it. But you also can use our premier services. So if you have no partner in your area and you don't want to do it by yourself, you can contact us directly and we can offer you premier services to define your workflows and to build your automations and to build your services. Okay. Some last words. Once again, just remember, we are nearly at the end of our webcast. If you have any questions, now is the time to write it down in the Q&A section in your window. Last words, you can use our free trial. You can go to our website and download a free trial. It is limited to 2 services and you can start them for the first 30 days. If you need any contact, any informations, just go to our website, mail us at info@automator.com. You can use Twitter, Facebook, whatever you like. Just contact us and we try to help you as soon as possible. That's it. Now we have the Q&A section. As I see, there are no questions at the moment. We will wait some more seconds. Maybe someone wants to ask a question. Otherwise, this is the end. So if no questions are coming in the next few seconds, I will end the webcast. Okay, still no questions. So if you have any questions after this webcast, contact us on our webpage, on Twitter, whatever you like. You can send us an email. You will receive an email in a few days with the recording, with all the questions we get from the other appointments. We will sum this up and write a little blog post. You get also some other informations. So you can see the webcast once again. You can download our trial. And yeah, If you have any questions, contact your partners, contact us directly, whatever you like or prefer. And now it's the end of our webcast. Thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was very informational. Hope it was a good one. It was no waste of time, hopefully. And enjoy your weekend, and bye-bye.